falling leaves in a quiet stream, lost in the current, caught in a dream. The sky whispers secrets, soft and low, a hidden truth only the brave will know.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Screen Time Secrets, where we peel back the layers of our favorite movies. I'm Mia, and I'm super excited to be here today.
And I'm Lucas. Happy to be joining you, Mia.
So Lucas, we've got a pretty fascinating one to dive into today, right? It's all about this movie, The Message from Tomorrow.
That's the one. It's a story that really gets you thinking about fate and choices.
Totally. So for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, it's about this girl who starts getting texts from her own phone number. But here's the kicker. They're from 24 hours in the future.
Yeah, and initially, these messages are pretty mundane, right? Like little warnings about spilling coffee or missing a bus.
Right. Like, don't wear white today, you're gonna have an incident. Minor stuff. But then it escalates. It really ramps up when she gets a message telling her not to leave the house.
And that's the turning point. She decides to ignore it, thinking it's just some weird glitch or a prank.
Uh-huh. And that's when she discovers the real, chilling truth. That her future self is desperately trying to stop her from causing some kind of tragedy.
It's a really compelling premise, isn't it? The idea of your future self reaching out.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, my brain just goes into overdrive thinking about that. So Lucas, let's just dive right into the core of The Message from Tomorrow. So Lucas, the whole premise of The Message from Tomorrow hinges on these future texts. When we first see them, they're incredibly specific, but, low stakes. What do you think the filmmakers were trying to establish with those initial messages?
Well, I think they were doing two main things. First, establishing the reality of the phenomenon. It's not just a one-off. These texts are consistent and they're accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And second, they were building a sense of normalcy, albeit a strange one. The protagonist, let's call her Sarah, gets used to these little nudges from the future. It becomes part of her routine.
Like a really, really advanced calendar reminder, but way creepier. I can imagine getting a text that says, don't forget your umbrella, it's going to pour at 3 p.m. It's helpful, right?
Exactly, and that's why she initially dismisses them. It's a small inconvenience, like, oh, I almost forgot my keys, but now it's coming from tomorrow. It's still within the realm of everyday mishaps.
Right. So it's not like, the world is ending tomorrow. It's more like, hey, you're going to stub your toe on the coffee table in about 10 minutes if you don't watch out.
Precisely. And the way they show this in The Message from Tomorrow is through these quick, almost mundane scenarios. Sarah is walking, she sees the text, she pauses, checks her surroundings, and then maybe avoids a puddle or a cyclist.
Oh, I remember that. There was one where she was about to step on a banana peel, classic cartoon stuff, but in real life, it's jarring. And she just, sidesteps it without even thinking, almost. It's become automatic.
Yeah, it shows how quickly we can adapt to the unusual when it's presented consistently. It normalizes the extraordinary. This makes her later decision to ignore a more significant warning even more impactful.
Wow. So it's like building up a trust, but also a complacency. She trusts the text, but she also gets a bit complacent because they've always been about minor things. And then the stakes dramatically increase, right?
Absolutely. And that's where the narrative tension really starts to build in The Message from Tomorrow. The tone shifts, and the messages become more ominous.
I can only imagine. So what's the significance of her number being the sender? Does that imply a self-fulfilling prophecy or something more direct?
That's a great question. I think it emphasizes the personal nature of the threat and the intervention. It's not an external force. It's her own future self. It implies a direct connection, a deep understanding of her habits and potential mistakes.
So it's like looking in a mirror, but the mirror is showing you what you will do and trying to steer you away from it. That's kind of a mind bender. And it also means that the future isn't entirely fixed. right? Because her future self is actively trying to change it.
Precisely. The film suggests that while the future might be influenced by our past and present actions, it's not set in stone. There's a degree of agency, a possibility for alteration. The future self is essentially a warning system, activated by a potential catastrophic outcome.
Okay, that makes sense. So to recap this first part of The Message from Tomorrow, the early texts in the film serve to both validate the bizarre phenomenon and to lull Sarah and the audience into a false sense of security about these future messages.
That's a solid summary. It's the calm before the storm, setting the stage for the much larger stakes to come.
Right. Let's bookmark that and continue after a break. All right, we're back with Lucas, diving deeper into The Message from Tomorrow. So, Lucas, we've talked about those initial, almost innocuous texts. Now, let's pivot to the big one, the message that tells Sarah not to leave the house.
Ah, yes. This is where The Message from Tomorrow really kicks into high gear. Sarah receives a text, and this time, it's not about a spilled drink. It's a direct, imperative command. Do not leave the house today.
And she ignores it. That's the critical decision, right? She thinks, come on, it's just a text message. I have plans. I can't just stay in bed all day.
Exactly. And that's understandable. She's become accustomed to these messages, but they've never dictated something so profoundly disruptive to her life. It feels like an overreaction from her perspective at that moment.
I mean, who wouldn't question that? Stay home today sounds like a really extreme personal forecast. So what happens when she goes out anyway? What's the tragedy she unknowingly causes?
The film depicts it as a devastating accident. She leaves her apartment. And perhaps she's distracted, maybe still thinking about the odd text, and she gets caught up in some event. It could be a traffic accident, a fire, a structural collapse, something on a scale that's far beyond a spilled coffee.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about her. It's about others, too. So her actions by going out directly lead to this tragedy involving other people.
That's right. And the horror in The Message from Tomorrow is realizing that she is the catalyst. The future message wasn't a warning for her to avoid danger, but a desperate plea from her future self to prevent her from causing it.
That's heavy. Really heavy. It's like she's not just a victim of fate. She's an active participant in creating a terrible future. That's a whole different level of guilt and responsibility.
It is. And the film portrays this realization with significant emotional weight. Imagine the shock and horror of discovering that a simple choice, a moment of defiance against an unseen warning, has had such catastrophic consequences.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like she was meant to be home to avoid being hit by a bus. She was meant to be home to prevent the bus from crashing, or something like that, to be the point of origin for the disaster.
Exactly, and the film uses vivid imagery to show the aftermath. News reports, the chaos, the faces of those affected. It's meant to viscerally communicate the scale of the tragedy she inadvertently set in motion.
Gotcha. So this revelation that she's the cause is the core of the story. It's not just about receiving messages. It's about the profound, terrifying implication of being the architect of your own future's disasters.
Absolutely. And it raises philosophical questions, doesn't it? If you knew you were going to cause a tragedy, could you live with yourself? And would you be able to make the right choice the second time around?
Oh, man, that's the million-dollar question. And the movie, The Message from Tomorrow, really put Sarah through the ringer with that. It forces her to confront the fact that her present actions have dire future consequences, and she was warned.
It's a powerful narrative device. It's like a cosmic choose-your-own-adventure, where the stakes are incredibly high. And the fact that the warning comes from her future self adds a layer of personal accountability.
Right. It's not some abstract prophecy. It's her future self who knows her intimately, begging her not to mess up. And then she does. It's heartbreaking.
It is. And I think that's why The Message from Tomorrow resonates with audiences. It taps into that universal fear of regret. And the desire to make better choices if only we had a glimpse of the consequences.
Yeah, definitely. So to summarize this section of The Message from Tomorrow, the pivotal moment is Sarah ignoring the stay-home warning, which leads to her inadvertently causing a major tragedy. This revelation is the emotional and narrative core, highlighting her direct role and the heavy weight of her choices.
Exactly. It's the moment the movie pivots from a quirky sci-fi premise to a deeply personal drama about consequence and responsibility.
Gotcha. Let's take a moment to reflect on that before we move on to how she tries to fix things. Okay, Lucas, we're back, and this is where things get really interesting in the message from tomorrow. Sarah now knows the horrific truth. She caused the tragedy. What's her reaction, and what does her future self try to do next?
Her reaction, as you can imagine, is devastation and overwhelming guilt. She's confronted with the enormity of her actions. The film shows her grappling with this immense burden, seeing the news, the impact on families.
Oh man, that must be absolutely crushing, to realize you're the reason people are suffering. So does she just fall apart, or does she try to do something?
She tries to do something. And this is where the narrative starts to explore the idea of redemption. The messages from her future self don't stop. Now they're more urgent, more frantic, trying to guide her toward preventing that specific tragedy from ever happening.
So it's like a do-over, but it's not a clean slate. It's like a highly complicated, high-stakes puzzle where she has to undo her own mistake, and the messages are her only guide.
Precisely. And it's not straightforward. The future self is trying to give her instructions, but it's a delicate balance. If she changes too much, she might create a different, perhaps even worse, outcome. It's like defusing a bomb where every wire is crucial.
Oh, that's a good analogy. Like, if she tries to stop herself from leaving the house that day, maybe something else happens. So the future self has to be really precise with the instructions.
Very precise. And the film shows this through Sarah's actions. She might be told to go to a specific place at a specific time or to interact with a particular person. And these actions are often subtle, not grand gestures, but small adjustments to the timeline.
So, for example, if the tragedy was a traffic accident, maybe she needs to ensure one of the cars is delayed by a minute. Or perhaps she needs to ensure a certain person 20 isn't at a certain intersection.
That's the kind of thing. And the film illustrates these interventions with tension. We see Sarah racing against time, often unsure if she's doing the right thing, constantly second-guessing herself.
And the future self, is it like a direct conversation, or are they just texts? Because if it's just texts, that adds another layer of difficulty, right? She can't ask clarifying questions in real time.
It's primarily texts in the message from tomorrow. And that's a key element of the struggle. She has to interpret these often cryptic messages under immense pressure. There are moments where she wishes she could just talk to her future self directly.
Wow. So she's getting these life or death instructions, and she has to trust them implicitly, even when they seem bizarre or counterintuitive. That's a massive psychological toll.
Absolutely. And the film doesn't shy away from showing the emotional strain. Sarah is constantly on edge, sleep-deprived, paranoid, but driven by the desperate hope that she can undo the harm she caused.
It makes you think about how we handle our own mistakes. Would we be able to forgive ourselves enough to try and fix things? Or would we just be paralyzed by the guilt?
That's a profound point. And the film uses Sarah's journey to explore that. Her initial mistake is driven by a lack of foresight. Her attempt to fix it is driven by a deep desire for atonement.
Right. So what's the ultimate outcome in the message from tomorrow? Does she succeed in preventing the tragedy, or is it a different kind of ending?
The film offers a resolution that's both hopeful and cautionary. She manages to avert the specific tragedy she caused, but it comes at a cost. Perhaps she has to make a significant personal sacrifice, or accept that some things, even good intentions, can have unforeseen consequences.
So it's not a perfectly neat, happy ending. It's more about learning to live with the choices you make, even when you try to correct them.
Exactly. The future self is trying to guide her toward a better outcome, but the past actions still cast a shadow. It's about finding a way to move forward, carrying the lessons learned from those future messages.
That's a really powerful message for the message from tomorrow. It's not just about avoiding bad things, but about the responsibility that comes with making choices and the struggle for redemption. So the key takeaway here is that while the future can be warned against and mistakes can be corrected, the path to atonement is often complex and fraught with difficulty, especially when guided by future selves.
A very astute summary. It highlights the film's exploration of free will versus determinism and the profound weight of personal accountability.
Wow. That really makes you think. Okay, that wraps up our deep dive into The Message from Tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me today, Lucas. It's been incredibly insightful.
My pleasure, Mia. Always great discussing these thought-provoking films with you.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in to Screen Time Secrets. We'll catch you next time.
Falling leaves in a quiet stream, lost in the current, caught in a dream. The sky whispers secrets, soft and low, a hidden truth only the brave will know. Every chapter, every fall, there's a meaning behind it all. No moment wasted, no whisper secrets, soft and low. A hidden truth only the brave will know. Every chapter, every fall, there's a meaning behind it all. No moment wasted, no tear in vain. Every lesson grows through pain.